Have you ever practically walked out mid-sex? What happened? The foreplay just felt super clunky. Can't quite put my finger in it. Like, she wouldn't even kiss me at the same time I kissed her. I'd kiss her, and she'd close her mouth or just sit there. Then I'd stop in confusion feeling super rejected, and turned off, and in this moment she'd start kissing me. Never experienced anything like it. Then she'd lead me to the bed. She got completely naked, and just laid there. I went down on her for a while. Then she sort of unenthusiastically went down on me for a couple seconds, and then she ran to the bathroom. The whole thing felt so weird. I can't explain it. By the time she was back from the bathroom my pants were back on. I don't know if she was gonna starfish it, cause we never even got that far, but I had a feeling that's where it was going. She kept insisting that I didn't need a condom. I'm infertile was among her excuses. Like I just met you on Tinder, I ain't raw dogging it. I just walked out. We didn't do anything. Yeah dude, anytime someone says we don't need a condom, that's when you know you do. I had an ex say her last boyfriend's name in the middle of the act. I wasn't even insulted, because I knew she was a drama queen and the way she said it was so over the top. Who are my good ex's name? You are amazing. Never stop. In a way that no real life human speaks outside of movies. I wouldn't have been mad if it had been accidental. Mistakes happen. But the fact that she was doing it intentionally, so she could have a dramatic scene straight out of The Notebook or some other garbage romance movie. God, that is so cringe. Dodged a bullet with that one. We hadn't gotten very far, but I quickly moved down while she quickly moved up, and I broke my nose on her pelvic bone. She suddenly flipped the absolute peep out, screaming at me about ruining our night as blood gushed out of my nose. Mind you, this was like the second date. She continued to yell at me about how I needed to fix this, a total accident, and I just cleaned myself up the best I could and went home. That was really selfish of you to get injured while going down on her. Right? I mean, how hard would it be to just stop bleeding immediately? My wife headbutted me when tussling around in bed. Didn't think much of it. Kept going. Switched position with me on top. She commented that I was drooling on her face. Thing is, I'm not a dog, so I wasn't drooling at all. Wiped my face with the back of my hand, which came back wet. Lights on. Blood all over the place. My nose was bleeding. I had blood in her eye. Not as much a walkout, since we still went to sleep together, but sex wasn't on the menu for the rest of the evening. I did walk out. She bit my nipple so hard that it bled, and called me a pussy when I complained about it. My ex-wife would bite me around my clavicle, most of the time hard, but not enough to kill the mood for me. B/C it meant she was really liking what I was doing. Until one time, when she bit so hard out of the blue she drew blood. I went soft mid-thrust, and it was over for the night. Found the pressure release valve. Shame. This wasn't the guy's fault. I was bouncing on his dick, and I accidentally bit my bottom lip really hard when I bounced. I started bleeding profusely on his chest, and down my chin. We both stopped, and ran to the bathroom. This is weird. This happened to me once. She still has a scar from it. Nearly bit the whole way through her lip. Undefined. Gotta be bragging rights, right? My dick's so good. The girl bit her bottom lip off. Old GF. I was down under and noticed an metallic taste. It was dark, but I wiped my face and my fingers were red. Well, my dumbass asked if it was that time of the month. She said no. So I scoot to the bathroom, and it looks like I'm painted for clown school. I get all cleaned up, but I couldn't figure it out. Then it hit me. Nosebleed. So I go back to my room. Explain. She's crying because she didn't know what was going on. I calm her down, and she goes to shower. 10/10ths do not recommend. Edit. Geez, it's nice I'm not the only one this has happened to. I one time got a nosebleed because of how forcefully my now GF slammed her pussy into my face. This was like a week after we met. We've been dating for like 18 months now. and we still joke about it. All I can imagine is her shouting cannonball and then slams on your face. And it is a hilarious visual. Yep. My boyfriend said he felt something hit his back like it dropped and hit hardish and moved, so we stopped and I checked and nothing was there, so we continued. About a minute later I had my hand on my boyfriend's shoulder and I feel something move on my hand. I look and a huge house spider comes running over onto my face. I screamed. My boyfriend looked, he sees the spider, slaps it off my face, and the pair of us get up and nope ourselves out the room, throwing clothes on as we goed and mate legs. Ruined our evening, lol. This is as hilarious as it is terrifying. Had to stop mid-sex a few times in the past due to nosebleeds. Surprisingly, blood dripping down your face isn't entirely sexy. Straight up anime character here. He started to strangle me. I told him I didn't like that, and he said he would stop, but his hands kept creeping up to my neck. Flipping terrified me. I wasn't sure what he would do if I stopped and tried to leave halfway through. But I sure as hell got out of there as fast as I could. The only guy I've ever ghosted after sex did this. He came from the kink community, so I guess he thought everyone was into joking. Nah dude, I'm claustrophobic and you're being scary. The big thing about kink/BDSM is that boundaries are supposed to be clearly discussed beforehand. For this exact reason. The guy kept asking if he could remove the condom. But I'm clean. I've been tested like 2 weeks ago. You can trust me. Yeah, right. After maybe the 6th or 7th time I got so pissed I just up and left. People who say that have never had an ST test in their life. Girl just started slapping the speep out of me. Slapped me soft. Like, you can't ask me first. I colder told you no and saved us some time. Okay, I came here for something like this. I gotta tell my story now. So I used to work at a bar and this girl would come in every weekend and just sit and hang out. So one Friday I asked her if she wanted to go out the next night for drinks. BC I had off. Fast forward to the next day. We are drinking and having a good time. We decide to go back to my apt and have some wine. So naturally we skip the wine and we are making out on the bed, and I'm on top and we are naked, and I think things are going just swimmingly. Then wham! She smacks me in the face. I pause and I look at her, and in my head I'm like, okay, WTF was that? But then we just start making out again. Then sure enough, wham! Smacks me from the other side. I just go, okay, stop doing that, and she says, why don't you try hitting me back? Never have I ever asked someone to leave so quickly in my life. Never called her again, and she never came back to the bar. So that's the kind of thing that you need to ask someone about and establish beforehand, not wham to the head and oh, I'm sorry, I thought you were giving me head smacking signals. Did I misread the moment? I was going down on a former girlfriend years ago, and I was really drunk. Well, the room started spinning, and to the toilet I went. Poor girl thought it was her. I reassured her it was not. I just mixed too much alcohol. I actually did walk out. I was hooking up with this girl and she says something about her boyfriend while we are undressing each other and making out. I explain I don't need to be murdered in some cheating scenario. She explains it's her ex-BF, so we are back on. Going at it for a few minutes and lining up for the landing when she says I'm going to turn on my flip so I can send him a video. Instant soft and I'll let myself out explaining I ain't getting shot. You seem to be very focused on this whole not getting murdered thing. I mean, I kinda get it. I too care about not getting murdered. It's one of the driving forces behind a lot of my behaviors and personality. He was my first Tinder hookup and kept trying to convince me that we shouldn't use a condom because he couldn't come with one on. In my Navy, I didn't leave immediately but instead listed some options that didn't involve his condom-less penis in my vagina but could still potentially allow him to come. He refused all of them and then tried to sneakily take off the condom without me noticing. That was my deal breaker though in retrospect. It should have been much earlier and I said, I need to leave. I calmly dressed and collected my things while he climbed under his covers and pouted. I blocked his number as soon as I was in my car. Good for you. I'm so sorry that happened though. In many states removal of a condom is assault. Yes. During sex my ex-boyfriend grabbed my stomach fat and said I needed to get rid of it undefined. My ex had grabbed mine the next day saying he had been a bit concerned I'd be too heavy on top. I had actually lost about 40 pounds before then and had been feeling more confident. I still had about 30 pounds to lose to be within the BMI range of normal, but didn't feel that comment was warranted. He completely killed that little bit of self-confidence I had and our relationship because I wasn't going to allow myself to feel that bad again. That, and the sex sucked horribly anyway. Not only that, I've fallen asleep. Our relationship wasn't the best, and when I'd get home she would pounce on top of me. As things went downhill, so did my energy, and soon I found myself sleeping during the more relaxed positions lol. I fell asleep after a blood donation. My boyfriend surprised me with a grilled steak and a glass of red wine. I was happy. We started making out, but maybe because of the blood loss, maybe the wine, I fell asleep. Not my proudest moment. Yeah, I was with a girl after a fresh breakup, and she was being really vulgar about what she wanted me to do to her, but kept referring to me as her father. But not like in a daddy kink kind of way, she just kept calling me Gary, and well, that was this woman's dad's name. We got started, and then as soon as she said it again I pretended to have chest pains and went home. She then spent the next few days messaging me about must have been wonderful if I almost have you a heart attack. I ended up blocking her. I realized she looked like a cousin. I couldn't keep going. There was a girl once who was very obviously trying to hook up with me, and I probably would have been down. But she just looked way too much like my sister for me to even consider that. It's a weird situation to be in. What do you even do in that situation? Like, do you tell her? Hook her up with a friend? Hey, look, you got mad game, but you look way too much like my sister for me to consider doing anything with you. But come meet my friend Steve. He's an only child, so you're good to go.